Hey everyone, welcome back to another Router Gods video. Today is day 3, just finished up day 3 of Chula Intensive Thai class number 5. We're just outside of the classrooms at the Faculty of the Arts building. Basically a review of what happened today. We'll talk about the homework, we'll talk about the vocabulary, along with an assignment that I have to do by Friday. So let's start with the assignment. The assignment is we have to do a 5-minute, we have to give a 5-minute presentation about a crime. So it could be a story, it could be something that's personal that happened to us. I have a very good idea of what to talk about since I used to be a California Highway Patrol police explorer, and I have been in a shootout with a bank robber. So I'm going to give that story in Thai. So we're going to have 5 minutes to recount this story, and we are graded on the sentence structure, the grammar, the who, what, when, where, why. What Chula is famous for, from the forums and from what my friends told me, is just getting destroyed by the amount of content, right? So the past 2 days was basically like, okay, this is a lot, but it's doable. Like I can deal with it. It's not overwhelming. It's Bokati, it's normal. Today was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? The majority of today was lecture, and it was spent deconstructing a news article. And this is using a real news article regarding a person who had gone into a school and hit the teacher. And the reason is he's on drugs, he's a bad person, he lives in a house that's directly opposite from the school, and he thinks the teacher is teaching loudly, is talking too loud. And it's a whole page of a news story, and so it's deconstructing word by word, sentence by sentence. We're going through the entire news story. And the teacher displays a couple of sentences on the big screen at a time. The students aren't reading it. The teacher is reading it, and then the teacher is like, okay, this part, do you understand this part? What is, now he's not picking on a particular person, very seldom. So what I noticed at Chula is that the teacher very seldom will point to a particular student like, what does this mean? Very, very seldom. It sometimes happens. So it's different than other schools where the teacher will go, okay, Humphrey, what does this mean? No, this is more like, okay guys, what do you think is happening? And then waits for someone to blurt out the answer. Writing the vocabulary, he writes the vocabulary on the board and he does some explanation. Now there was a question on a previous video, are we allowed to ask questions? And so yeah, of course we're allowed to ask questions. The teacher has a certain cadence, and you kind of don't want to, you got to insert it kind of at the right time. So it's not like all the time I can ask a question. I've got to kind of wait for not wait my turn, but I just have to wait for the best time to ask. I ask the most questions out of the class because I don't care. I'm paying money for the class, so I'm going to ask questions. And my questions tend to be, does this word mean something like that? Or does this vocabulary, could I say it a different way? We went through 10 questions, and we go through the questions together. It's shown on the board. And the questions are very, very specific in terms of, what did this guy do? Why is this guy acting this way? Is the teacher the victim, or is this teacher a suspect? What happened 2 years ago? Has the police caught the suspect or not? So and also the level of vocabulary here, it's pretty crazy. It's stuff like verdict. It's stuff like clenching a fist. So fist versus the action of clenching and making a fist. The action of attacking someone. So attacking like not just hitting someone, but attacking like rushing someone. Verdict, jail, imprison, investigation. Once you know a certain level of vocabulary, Thai becomes, or all languages, turn from a club. So the words turn from a club, they transform from a blunt object into a scalpel. or as you learn more vocabulary, the club becomes a sword, becomes a scalpel. To attack someone, right? You could say, I'm attacking someone. But then you could get more granular than that. And that is to punch someone, to stab someone, to kick someone, right? And then what area of the face? Are we talking about the cheek? Are we talking serious? Are we talking serious meaning if it's not serious, you could just take a bandage and cover it? Or do you need to go to a hospital? Is it that level of severity? This bad guy who punched the teacher stabbed another teacher 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, he stabbed another teacher. Apparently he doesn't like teachers. And he was found guilty of that stabbing and sentenced for 3 years in prison. Now, we were asked the question, what the heck, right? Because this has been 2 years, right? It's been 2 years since that event, but he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. So what happened? What happened was he went to prison, he did well, he got some parole, he get out on good behavior, and so he was let out early. And yeah, that was one of the questions, like, whoa, what the heck, right? So that level of questioning, that level of granularity, that level of reading comprehension is what I came here for at Chula. This is it. Like, I'm getting my money's worth now. The amount of vocabulary we are supposed to learn tonight is like, I think it's like 40 words, and it's vast majority of those words I have never seen before. So tonight's going to be a very busy night, and tomorrow we have something similar. We have another news article, and there's going to be a lot of I kind of took a preview in the book, looked a couple pages ahead, but there's a heck of a lot of vocabulary for that. So yeah, this is true to form according to the rumors that I've heard before coming here, 30 to 40 new vocabulary words a day, and that is true. That is definitely true today, and that is definitely going to be true tomorrow. Okay, so just like before, this was approximately 90 to 95% lecture. And now when I say lecture, I should be more specific about that. When I say lecture, most people are probably thinking the instructor is standing up at the podium and talking and lecturing. It's not like that. So what happens here is they've got this big screen TV, and he hits enter on the computer and the slide comes up, and it's 1 to 2 sentences and it's zoomed in, so it's very easy to read. And the instructor will stand up by the TV and point to each word, and it's like, okay, what do you guys think? This word means this word means this, we can't say it like this. And so it's a dynamic lecture where he's walking around. He's not just standing up at the podium. So don't get that idea of he's just standing in one spot speaking. So I really like that, and because now the instructor is writing on the whiteboard, but he's not writing all the time because the presentation starts off with a PowerPoint that's already done. So he's pointing, he's kind of underlining with his hands, and some of the words are already underlined, so he's pointing onto the screen, he's putting his hands on the screen, and then if you have questions, he'll write it on the whiteboard. Or if there's a certain word that a student doesn't know about, then he'll write it on the whiteboard and he will explain it. So I think it's a very effective, it's a different way of teaching than what I'm used to. But the upside of it is the amount of vocabulary that you're getting is insane. You may be thinking, well, how does one remember all of these vocabulary words? And I think this is where the famous 2 to 3 to 4 hours of homework every night comes into play. The only way to remember it is you've got to do your homework, you've got to be doing the self-study, and this is all after class. So really, you can't think of Chula, you can't think of going to school at Chula is the 3 hours at class from 1 to 4. No, it doesn't work like that. The homework is an extension of class. So it's both on campus time along with the 3 to 4 hours afterwards. Think of that whole thing per day of 6 to 7 to 8 hours per day, that whole class plus homework as the class, as the real class. Class doesn't end at 4 p.m. Class ends at midnight or whenever you pass out from being too tired. Because the last 2 days I've been coming to class drenched in sweat, being super tired, and then you spend the first 10 minutes of class just trying to cool down. So today the way I did it is in the morning I still went to Starbucks, I still had my tuna sandwich and my nitro cold brew, but I got out of Starbucks. I made sure to get out of Starbucks at 11:30 and start slowly walking to class. And now I know the right way of walking to class while still maintaining most of my path in the shadows. So I've learned to love the shadows. I've learned the walk of the shadows, which is finding the trees, finding the walkways to duck under, finding the buildings to take advantage of the air conditioning. And I make it on campus. I try to make it on campus by noontime. And then once I get here, I find the true coffee shop or I find the canteen and I'll hang out. And then that's when I study my notes, do a little review, and cool down, get a cool drink and just kind of cool down. And then when I go to class, I climb the stairs and I'm pretty okay once I start class. I'm still hot because freaking it's March and it's hot, but a lot better than before. Okay, I'm gonna cut it short for today because my brain is, my brain is toast. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. And I'll see you tomorrow for class number 4. All right, take care, stay safe. Bye.